Wonderful. Good morning. Thank you for sharing your time. I'm part of the Just One More ministry. My name is Chris Capper, and I'm going to divide the program into a couple different sections. And first, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background. I'm a recovering alcoholic and drug addict. I was involved with drugs and alcohol for 39 years. I have been with the Lord for 12 years and about 3 months now. So instead of doing what I call naughty things, he now has me as part of his ministry, which this truly is his ministry. So the first part is I'm going to tell you about my not so good side, what happened when I was involved with drugs and alcohol. I lost my relationship with 4 of my children for over 25 years. I now have the relationship back with 3 of my children, and my one son still does not talk with me. And that's okay. We pray for his heart to be open to forgiveness every day, and my heart to be acceptance of what I did to understand his heart. So the 2 children, my 2 oldest ones, who I didn't communicate for over 25 years, I was encouraged by Pastor Gary to start to text them and see if I would get a response. So I found out their text and I texted them. It took about 6 months till I got a response from only one of my 2 daughters. And then we had a communication till finally over a couple of years that they wanted to see me. And they wanted to see me at the ministry. God symbol to me, bringing the kids back and me to them through his ministry. So I met them at the ministry. We're down at Redeemer Church Center. We still have a good relationship. I've met all my grandchildren, and I'm in everybody's lives, and they're in my life. So praise God for the ministry for that one aspect. So I lost the relationship with my children. It cost me lots and lots of jobs. It ruined my relationship with my mother. My father passed when I was 12 years old, so he knew nothing of this, what I was doing. And I think the biggest detriment to the drugs and the alcohol was I really lost my relationship with Jesus Christ. And if I would have been stronger with him, then I don't think this other part of my life would have happened. I've been incarcerated 4 times in the lovely Milwaukee County Jail. I've been in the House of Correction twice. I've been incarcerated for a total of a little more than 1 year of my life. So that's some of the bad things. We don't have a whole lot of time, but that's some of the bad things that occurred when I was drinking and doing lots of drugs. And part of the things that when you're someone like me, your addiction becomes your God. That's who you live for. You get out of bed in the morning, okay, now what do I do to get high today? What do I have to do to get high today? How can I get high today without interfering with my whole life? And some of us, it takes over our whole lives. I was able to function at work on a relative basis for a while. Like I said, it cost me lots of jobs. It would catch up with me at each job, so I go to a different job. So that becomes your God. So you don't have a relationship with our true Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. That doesn't exist. So, how did I get to where I am today? He put me in the House of Correction the first time for about 4 months. And when I got out, I went right back to drinking and doing drugs. They let you out a little after midnight. By 2 o'clock in the morning, I was totally high. The first day I got out. Didn't learn my lesson. So he put me back the second time. And I was in a working dorm the first time, so I asked to be in the working dorm the second time. I hope none of you have been in the House of Correction, but there's a lot of young people there that run around and don't pay attention to the rules. And if you're part of that dorm, then they put you on the bed and they don't let you off. So there are times when we were on the bed for like 20 hours a day because the kids would do things they shouldn't, so everyone goes to bed. So when you're in the working dorm, it's all adults. So I was blessed the first time to be in the working dorm. So when I went back the second time, I asked to be in the working dorm. It took me about a month to get there. Here's, when I think back, the first time that I realized that God had a play in this There's between 60 and 70 beds in a big dorm room. I was in the same bed that I was in the first time. The man next to me on the upper bunk was reading The Purpose-Driven Life, which I had read before. It's on page 218 or 238. They talk about Celebrate Recovery, a recovery program through Jesus Christ. It's listed the Beatitudes, and it's all about Christ and the Beatitudes. So I had read it before, and I asked him if I could read it again. And I read it again, and I was motivated, another sign from God, because you don't share this. When you're an addict, you don't share this with most people. I wrote a letter to Pastor Gary, asking him to send me some Celebrate Recovery books, which he so kindly did, and he wanted to come and visit me, and I wasn't quite ready for that yet in my life, so I told him no. So he respected it and didn't come. I started going to chapel. I started going to the Bible study groups in the dorm, and I didn't realize it at the time, but that's when Christ first was getting a hold of me, and I was paying some attention to it. That's the key, paying some attention to him. So, the point there being is, he never leaves us. No matter what I did, sold drugs to other people, did lots of drugs, stole, lost my relationship with my kids, almost destroyed the relationship with my mother, didn't have a relationship with him. He was there, never ever left me. To this day, he's with me. So, from that point on, I was a member of St. Matthew's, and they were starting a meal ministry. Tom Geib, everybody knows or has heard the name Tom Geib. He still runs the meal ministry here. So I got involved with the meal ministry because they were going to a place where men go for recovery. And so I thought that maybe I should tell a little bit of my story and go along. So that's how God was just easing me into the meal ministry. Go once a month, serve a meal to 60 or 70 people, tell my story, and that was it for a while. Then Tom expanded the meal ministry. We got bigger and bigger until one day I was at church and they had some things left over from a lunch. So I took that and I went down to Repairs of the Breach. We make lunch for them. So I took some food down to them, and then there were some other churches that I would go pick up food from and take it to other places in the city. That was really the start of Just One More. Redeemer Church, our partner, our Reformation, was having a food drive. So here comes drugs and here comes God again. Someone that I used to buy pot from, his father's involved in a big bread ministry. So I went to him and I said, "Can I have a box of bread?" He said, "Sure." So there were 20 loaves of bread in the box. That's what initially started the ministry. That's the first thing I really did on my own, without help from anybody else, except God, of course. So the drugs, doing some good from that, taking some food, starting the ministry, being involved with Celebrate Recovery, all things that God has along the way has led me to. So, what's the ministry about? Just one more. We're based on two biblical phrases. The first one is Matthew 25:40. What you do to the least of these, you are doing to me. And the second one is John 6:12. After he fed the 5,000 with the 5 fish and 2 loaves, Pastor, is that right? 5 fish and 2 loaves? Or
two fish and 5 loaves.
That was a fast test.
After he did that, he told the disciples, gather the leftovers so nothing is wasted. So basically the ministry is based on those two biblical verses. And of course, along the way we go and make disciples. So, that being said, what we do is different than other folks. And we got some sheets. I'm going to have Whitley and Kimmy hand some sheets out. And you can take a peek at these sheets. Our niche is, and how we got to this place, again, through St. Matthew's. I think the Kiwanis Club was having a lunch here, and Pastor Chris called me and said, "Come down here, they're going to throw all this food away." Sassis was doing the catering. So I came down and talked to the folks that were doing the catering here, and they could not give me the food, but they gave me the name of the man that was running the catering division over at Sassus. This was on a Wednesday. So I called him Friday morning, went and talked to him. We talked for about 2 hours. At the end of our conversation, he looked at me and said, I'm going to give you all the food that we have, that we don't use. This is Sassus Catering. This is really nice food. I would like to have their food every day. So I was a little bit in shock, and he only placed one stipulation on it. So we used to give food to a group. The problem was they weren't doing what they said they were going to do with the food. So I made him a promise. I said, the food will go to the hungry people in this city. So we have kept that promise. They're still a donor of ours. They're the largest prepared food donor that we have. So that's our niche. The prepared food makes us a little bit different than other food ministries or food organizations. So, what do we do in Just One More? We're a distributor. We don't serve any meals on site. And we're located, everybody knows where Metcalf's is. They go 1 block south, take a left-hand turn, we're right down River Parkway. 6442 River Parkway. Just down the street from Hart Park Square. So we're less than 5 minutes from here. We started here with about 200 square feet. We went down to Redeemer Church, which is right across from the Marquette Down School. We had about 1,500 square feet. We're in a building now that has 9,000 square feet, and we are looking for a building between 15 and 20,000 square feet now. You can look at some of the sheets here, which will show you what we've grown from and where we are now. So with the food, being a distributor, we do prepare meals in 3 different ways. Family meals, we do for family meal of 2 or family of 4, and this is all prepared. We do this on Tuesday and Thursday, and Larry Jurus is sitting in the row over there. He runs that program for us. So every Tuesday and Thursday, we get 8 to 10 volunteers, and they put together anywhere, I'm going to say from probably 600 to 800 meals on a given day, and we do that twice a week. So we feed approximately 1,500 people from that program. Family meals of 2, family meals of 4. Who takes those? The food pantries. We have 75 partners that come to us for food. And instead of someone coming and just receiving a bag of food or 2 bags of food, we try and get them a prepared meal to take along with them. It's all cooked. A lot of it comes from Sassus, so you can imagine the quality of things that we get. We're partners with 5 Serve Forum, so they give us a lot of their concession food that's left over. We're partners with the Harley-Davidson Museum, so they give us lots of food that's left over. We're direct partners with Johnsonville Sausage. Everybody likes their brats. Okay, so we're direct partners with them. So what does that mean? They're huge to us. They gave us a semi-full of sausages this summer. Okay, now what does that mean? What's a semi-full? A semi-full, I think it was about 18,000 pounds of sausages that we got in. So by the partners I mentioned, we're able to give people a good quality meal. We try and treat every partner like their family members. Would you serve this to your family? How does it look in the container that we give them to? So family meals of 2, family meals of 4. We also deal a program, what we call meal site meals, where churches in the city or organizations in the city will put on a meal for the neighborhood or for their congregation, and they can't afford to buy the food. So we give them food anywhere from, say, 30 people up to 400 or 500 people. And then they take it and they'll prepare it down there. Partners with Feeding America, the second part of that. So we get food from Walmart, Target, Whole Foods, and any other store that they have available that they want us to pick up on a regular basis. We go Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are our pickup days. So we get lots of food from those organizations. Now I'm going to mention one that's real fun that everybody's had. State Fair Park, everyone's been to the State Fair? Okay, everybody's had a cream puff? Okay, we're the organization that gets the leftover cream puffs. So I just want in your mind to think of this number. They sold approximately 450,000 cream puffs last year. That's 45,000 a day. The fair's open 10 days. How many do you think that we got that were left over at the end of the day? Just get a figure in your mind. We got close to 12,000. So that's 1,200 a day. So that's a huge amount because you have to put them in the cooler. So they come in boxes of 3 or 6. So we have a whole wall of our cooler full early in the morning. By 10 or 11 most mornings, they're gone. We go between midnight and 2 o'clock in the morning and pick them up. Why do we do it? Because there's kids in this city that if they get to the fair, won't have $4 for a cream puff. Some of them never get there. So we try and do that so the kids will at least have a cream puff. So if someone's talking about it, I had a cream puff. They can be part of it. Relationships. So, speaking of children, how many opened the refrigerator this morning and found that there was food on more than one shelf? Everybody? Okay. We have 60,000, this is important, 60,000 children in this city that don't know where their next meal is coming from. I'm going to give you some statistics now. You can read them on the sheet here. There's a couple important ones. We throw away 40% of edible food in this country. That's huge. 40% of edible food. I think it says here that every family throws away $2,200 worth of food. This is from 2012. That's the latest stat that the government puts out. So this is 6 years later. What's the percentage of food gone up in 6 years? If it goes up 2% a year, that's 12%. So add 12% onto the 2,200. So you're close to between $2,400 and $2,500 each family throws out. I just read this statistic the other day. It was from 2015. There's enough food in this country that's thrown away to feed 240,000 people for a year. Okay, the city of Milwaukee has not quite 600,000 people, so it's about half the city of Milwaukee could be fed for a year. We throw away that food in 1 day. 1 day, that's edible food. So think of the vast amounts of food we throw away. So, what does that lead us to? We take care of the children. That's our passion. We try and get the food to the children. 100% of the children in the city of Milwaukee qualify for breakfast and lunch. It was 83%, and the people just said, 83%, we're gonna give you 100%. So they get a breakfast and a lunch, if they're on school on time, and if they want it. So what happens at night? What happens on the weekends? What happens on vacation? What happens in the summer? We had a girl working for us. There were 7 brothers and sisters in the family. They were having 1 meal every 2 days. That's when they were eating. 1 meal every 2 days. We have a great school system in the city of Milwaukee. We spend lots of money on it, and we should. We're the 3rd poorest school system in the nation. In the top 3? First of all, the top 3 things that are keeping us from having a better educational system. Kids don't go to school. That's number 1. Number 2, they don't have a lot of support to go to school in the city, in most cases. What's the 3rd thing? Hunger. That's huge. So if you eat once every 2 days, just imagine, would you do your job like you were supposed to? What would you think about? I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. So that's a real huge thing to us, to get a better education, to try to give them all the food that we can possibly give them. So, we do those 3 things, and I'm gonna, who do we hire in our ministry? I'm trying to get this done because you folks gotta go. But who do we hire in our ministry? We're a bunch of misfits. The regular society, the regular corporations probably would not hire anybody that we have working for us in employment. I know they wouldn't hire me. I was 56 years old, and I never got a call back from over 100 people. I know exactly why. Because they look at my past, were you ever incarcerated? Yes, I was. List the dates. Blah, 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 blah. So you list all those dates. So they wouldn't hire me. And this is part of the great ministry that God does. He takes all of us that normal society, corporation wouldn't use. He puts us all together. And we're doing 6,800 meals each week. 6,800 meals each week. along with pantry, along with produce, along with dairy, and along with bakery. Those 4 additional items. We're gonna show you 3 videos, and then I'm gonna let one of the ladies that works with us, that does our outreach ministry, she's in charge of our outreach ministry, 2 days a week we go into the city, I'm gonna let her talk. And she'll tell you why she came to us and how God led her to us and what's going on with that. But it's all about what God does for us in this ministry. We don't go out and pursue donors. We just starting now to go out and look for volunteers, because we have over 450 volunteers each week that make this ministry function. They don't all come to us, but they go to our partners. So we have 75 partners, remember, that dispense the food to the actual people that eat this food. So we're going to show you 3 videos. I'm going to let Whitley talk, and then if you want, you can ask some questions.
I am Chris Capper, and I am the founder and current CEO of Just One More Ministry. So it started with 1 box of bread, and that was a little over 5 years ago. And now we do roughly 1,700 meals a week, almost all from rescued food. 43% of the children in Milwaukee do not get a meal each day. Food's a basic. We have to have food, and we like doing it because we don't know too many people that are actually rescuing prepared food. We pick up food 7 days a week. We have 17 partner organizations, mostly churches. We're hoping by moving into the city, we're hoping a year from now do maybe 3,500 meals a week. We hopefully someday we'll have nobody in this city that doesn't have a meal each day. That's our goal. Just think if everybody in the world touched one person in a positive way, how much better the world would be. But it comes down to relationships and being there and giving hope to people. And some people think, oh, just one more, you're just one more ministry. Well, what we want to do is bring just one more person to Christ. We want to feed just one more person. We want to give just one more person hope.
You know, this small idea can actually make an impact across the globe.
I believe there's a better way.
There's got to be a better way.
I believe we can transform the world.
Hopefully I can inspire others.
This is something that could benefit everybody.
I think this is worth
An idea worth spreading. An idea that's worth sharing.
How we address gun violence in the United States. What we've really been sold in this country is fear for
That's the wrong one.
years.
I don't know how he's going to get the other one now. Shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to go to this one. Let's see if we can get this one. This is the one we're trying to go to next. Ed, do you know how to make that work? Are you still in here?
Yeah. That would be me trying to find something.
Is that?
Or are we going to see? I don't want to go there.
Where did you put it?
We're supposed to follow the next one.
YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
That's,
We're gonna, well, Ed's doing that, so we don't take a lot of your time. We're gonna let Whitley talk, and she can tell you a little bit about her story and how she came to it now. This is the first time that Whitley's done this in front of a group. So this is another thing that God has people do. Let's go and be disciples, and let's see what's going on in the ministry. If you have to look at just one more ministry, that's how we found it. So Whitley's gonna talk while Ed is trying to get us onto that.
Hi, everyone doing today? God bless. I'm very new at this. I came through Just One More Ministry as a struggling female, came out of a 12-year relationship, was married for 6, divorced female. I have 3 children of my own, and every day is hard. Every day is hard. I've come from a family of 8, 7 girls and 1 boy. And so me living in a big family always was a struggle. So I can remember at times where we didn't have food, where we didn't have anything. So seeing my mom always go through her addiction, her downfall, me growing up as a young woman with my own problems as in a learning disability. So every day is hard for me. Every day I strive with this thing called dyslexia. Every day. So within me controlling my anger, controlling anything and everything, I grew. And when I grew to Just One More Ministry. And I grew as a woman to help with Just One More Ministry. Out of Just One More Ministry, I learned to give back. And my giving back is helping hands. I gained a clothing closet. I help out with the mobile mail ministry where we do that 2 days a week. I pack up 100 bags and I go out in the community on a van and hand out bags of food to out in the world. Go to different locations and just give out bags 2 days a week, maybe 100 bags, 50 bags. It's very nice. It's very energetic. So I gained a lot. I'm very bubbly, so I'm sorry. My struggle, it just taught me a lot. You know what I'm saying? Just one more, every day we pull boxes, food, we deal with different attitudes, different gestures. So it's a growing pain through the whole thing. And we all get along. Sometimes we don't, but we make it. And Just One More, we help so many people, seeing different people, how they act, how they talk, the appreciation from Chris, it's so big. Just seeing how much people give him the honor, the love, I just be amazing. So I love it. We do a lot. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's real good. So I thank y'all for supporting Just One More Ministry, being here for us. I'm gonna keep supporting Just One More Ministry. I'm gonna keep growing. It's hard, man, every day it's a struggle. Out of Just One More Ministry, I gained a lot within myself, and I help a lot of my family members, my friends, out of it. Sometimes it still be tough, but for the most part, we try to make it. Every day is a struggle for everyone. And me, as a learning disability person that can't barely read and write, I got myself in a situation where I'm really standing at my 10 toes right now. I take care of myself, I take care of my kids. I got people knocking at my door. I got people asking me for questions, people asking me for help. And I just look back and ask myself all the time how I do it. I do it because I was a child of God. I was born into this. My dad's a preacher, so I know where I came from. I know my right and wrongs. So I just pray. I keep God by my side. I keep Just One More because God have a plan for everybody. He didn't place me here for no reason. Within the society of the life, I was on Social Security by me having a learning disability since I was a child. But I feel like that wasn't enough. It wasn't paying enough. It wasn't giving me more. It wasn't doing nothing. It was just a steady pay. So I wanted to get a job. I wanted to show that my disability couldn't take over me. I wasn't gonna let that overpower me. So I went out and I found me a job. Oh, well, you can work. You grew out of that. This is what we wanted other people to do. And I tell other women, you can do it. You can strive. If I did it, you can. It's your willpower. It's up to you. It's how you make it. And so I push, I strive. And living on the assistance, you have to volunteer. You have to either do clock. You have a clock, so they give you hours. So I have did at Redeemer. So that's how I met Just One More Ministry when they were at Redeemer. I was coming there because I had no friends, no family. I was in a relationship. So coming out the relationship, I need to do something every day. So every day positive, I had got up and went to the church and helped my brother in the kitchen cook and serve food to what they were doing breakfast and lunch, Monday through Friday, served to the community. So I went there. In the midst of it, I met Joy. Joy was a lovely young lady. She used to work for Just One More Ministry. Me and her is like this still to this day. That's my friend, that's my lover. We conversate. She's doing her own thing in college still, so she's doing good. I came to Just One More Ministry, start volunteering. So I give the state my volunteer hours, and it showed that I was volunteering some at a place. So every day I give Chris the papers, him and Eva sign it off, and then by me putting in my willpower, my work ethic, my love, my support, they hired me on. So all I do is give back. I be thankful for where I'm at in this position every day. I'm a human being, so I don't hide no flaws. I don't hide who I am. I laugh, I smile, I enjoy life, and I keep going every day, every day. I'm a single parent. I'm still looking for life, love, but right now, I dedicate myself to my Lord God and my kids and getting back. Out of Just One More Ministry, I'm still trying to gain. So I'm trying to gain a support group for women. I already gained the mobile mill. I already gained Helping Hands. So in the midst of it, I'm just trying to teach other young women we can make it. Other young men we can make it. Regardless of whatever title somebody put on you or whatever title you was born with. I try to teach everyone how to make it. So thank God. Y'all keep pushing for Just One More Ministry. Keep pushing for yourself.
Thank you. Can I first?
Acts of Day of Bread to a community meal at Reformation Lutheran Church, and a life-changing ministry was born.
And we've gone from basically me to right now where we have 125 volunteers. It takes about 500 volunteer hours a week to make this ministry function. We're just 5 years old now, and we practically doubled what we're doing almost every year.
Milwaukee struggles with both hunger and excess. Over 35,000 people visit area food pantries each week, at least half children. At the same time, nationally, over 35 million tons of food are wasted each year. Just One More Ministry rescues food headed to the trash and gets it to hungry people at Central City churches and homes. The food that would otherwise be waste comes from local caterers, grocery stores, bakeries, and wholesalers. An army of willing volunteers, over 100 weekly, transport, repackage, and distribute the food within the community, serving 1,500 meals a week. Just One More Ministry has bridged the gap between suburb and city, connected churches with local businesses, employed 2 people who previously had no job, and created a community amongst its volunteers. In 5 years, the program's food suppliers have increased from 1 to 11, and the number of partner churches and organizations from 2 to 17. From that first box of bread, Just One More Ministry supplied 62,800 meals in 2012, and in 2013, 76,000 meals. That's 275,000 pounds of rescued food. With this simple but powerful idea, Just One More Ministry is poised to reduce even more waste and serve even more community members.
And we have about 13 or 14 suppliers now. We'd like to see that grow by the end of this year to 25 or 30 if we can. And with the equipment that we have coming, hopefully we can do that.
While we're showing you all 3, as you can see the growth procession of what's going on. This one is, we just redid this one. We did this one, and I'll tell you the stats, a year ago. We had to redo it because of the big change. Okay, so you saw the change a little bit. We had this done a little over a year ago. And the difference is we were feeding 3,500 people, sorry. God was feeding 3,500 people a week. Now we're up to 6,800 people a week. And you saw a few of the changes as the quality of what we did, how we've come along. We won a grant for that the last video, and we have some brochures on the back. And we're short time, so I'm just gonna close with a couple of things. Remember John 6:12. Remember Matthew 25:40. Remember to build the relationships. Now I'm gonna ask you to do you a favor. We have 7 weeks till Christmas. Somewhere close to that, believe it or not, everybody. I'm gonna ask you to do something, and I know what the outcome is gonna be if you do it. Open your heart just a little bit more to Christ. And see how you can help maybe your neighbor, maybe a family member. Involve your passion. It doesn't have to be with us. If your passion is sewing, if your passion is painting, if your passion is reading, if your passion is just talking with people, or you like to take people shopping or whatever, and if every day now, from now until Christmas, try and do something. And I think you're gonna be amazed at what Christ does to your spirit and to your heart. So please do that. Read this brochure, on this little pamphlet on Stop Hunger. And remember that 240,000 pounds, 240,000 people, excuse me, could be fed for a year with the food we throw away in one day in this country. Half of the city of Milwaukee. So I'm gonna tell you about 2019, and then I'm gonna say a little prayer. If you look at 2018, a million pounds, I'm happy to say now that we are at 900 and roughly 50,000 pounds through October. So I'm guessing that we're gonna get to 1,100,000 pounds that God's gonna give us. We're thinking next year we're gonna get 1.5 million pounds from the Lord. You see here we have 312,000 meals we projected for this year. We're already over 350,000 meals for this year. So God is alive. We have a lot of strife going on in the world, a lot of political conflict in our country now. But Christ is alive and well. We just have to go to Him. He's there for us. We just have to go to Him. So, what can you do for our ministry? We're a nonprofit. Of course we need money. If you can help us and want to help us, God bless. What we really, really need is your prayers. That's what we need, that we continue to do what God would want us to build relationships, feed the soul and feed the body. And we judge that and how we're doing by the amount of food we're getting. And you can see we're getting lots of food. So God's ministry is doing well with the misfits that He puts together to show the world that we are all the least. We all want to be last so we can be first when we get to Him. That's what we base it on. So I'm going to close with a prayer. And this prayer, oh, I'm sorry, before I do that. We have some volunteers here that come, some of them have been with us since day one, some not so many from day one. Some put in lots and lots of hours to make this ministry work. We are an outreach of St. Matthew's. We never, ever forget where we came from. That's who we are. Just because we're not in this building doesn't mean that we don't talk about St. Matthew's when we go places and tell them that we have wonderful pastors here who preach, go, and make disciples. We have wonderful ministries here that affect so many people in the city. A lot of us don't hear that. We should have a ministry day and let all the ministries that come from this church be represented in the back maybe. And so all the people that aren't part of it, that don't know what goes on in this church, it's amazing. It is simply amazing. So I want all the volunteers to stand up that have ever volunteered for just one more. And I think there's going to be a few here. Okay, see that. Some of us have been with us a long time. So I'm going to close with this prayer. And please, I don't like asking for money. You know we're a nonprofit, we need it. I'm not shy to ask for your prayers. And pray for all the hungry children in this city that need food every day so they can learn and have a better chance in life than what they have now. It's a sad thing. So this is a prayer. I can't tell you the story, it's too long. But a man gave me this book and said, read this, and it has changed my life. So it was called The Prayer of Jabez, and I don't know if some of you have heard it or read it. It's that not asking for anything personally. That's what I like about it. And lots of times I pray and say, Lord, I need more money to do this, or I want a bigger car, or I want a bigger TV, or how can I get this? Can I do this? And we ask for things for ourselves, whatever they are. And this prayer does not do that. So it's called the Prayer of Jabez. Father, oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me, and that you would keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain. Amen. So what does that say? To me, what does that say? Bless me. Give me the blessings that you want me to have, Father. Then let me figure out what they are and give them to other people. That's what it says to me. Enlarge my territory. Get out of my comfort zone. Be nice to watch the Tigers tonight. If someone calls and says, hey, can you come and pick up some food? What am I going to do? Go pick up the food. Get out of my comfort zone. So whatever your comfort zone is, go be part of God's comfort zone. He'll tell you where you should be and where you're comfortable with. That your hand will be with me, of course. We always want Christ to be with us. We leave him. He doesn't leave us. And that it would cause no pain. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your mind. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Don't cause any pain to anybody. Okay, any questions, anybody? Sorry I kept you so long.
So you said that between midnight and 2, there are food runs?
Midnight and 2 only when State Fair is on.
Oh.
That's when, because State Fair closes at 11 or 12, depending if it's a weekday or weeknight. And then we have a couple donors of food that we pick up from, and then the cream puffs are always there. So I do that run. I don't ask any of the volunteers or the employees to do that, because that's, August is our busiest month traditionally. So I don't sleep much anyway. But so I do that, and I get to bed usually at 3 or 4, and then I'm back at the ministry at 6 or 6:30 in the morning. That's my test of myself if I'm giving to God for those 10 days. So if you run into me in those 10 days of August when the fair is on, and I'm a little grumpy, I'm sorry. I don't need to be. But we pick up the cream puffs then. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Are you married?
No.
No.
That's a good question. Divorced twice because of drugs and alcohol. And I had 2 kids with each wife, and the drugs and the alcohol again. It's terrible to be addicted. We have so many addicted people in the city of Milwaukee. It's just, and that's where a lot of the money goes, but the kids don't get fed because the parents sell their cards for food and stuff, and they go to food pantries to get it when they can. And that's why they want it. Yes, Judy.
Chris, when you were working, what was your profession?
I was in sales. Again, God preparing me along the way to do what I do now, and I haven't graduated from college. I didn't take any business courses, but again, this is God's ministry, so he brings Gordon to us, whose profession was finances. So guess who takes care of the finances for our ministry? He brings Tim Shaywee, Pastor Margaret's husband. If you were here long enough when she used to be here, he was the lead attorney for Milwaukee County. So guess who our attorney is? So God has brought all these people to us. It's his ministry. I just sit in the chair temporarily because he wanted to show people. I'm a miracle standing in front of you, and I didn't have time to go into the depths of my addiction and what really happened there, but he took it from me. When I was in the House of Correction the second time, he literally took everything from me. And I told you the coincidence of being in the same bed and the guy next to me reading The Purpose-Driven Life and all that. That's him. But that wasn't me. That would never be me. I never would speak in front of people and say, yeah, I'm a recovering alcoholic and drug addict. Never. But again, it's not about me. So I'm going to conclude with, I can't, he can, let him. I can't run my life. Jesus can, let him. That's still my biggest struggle. Oh, I'm gonna, when I catch myself, going, oh, yeah, you're not gonna do anything without him. So that's my biggest struggle. And then I can't, he can't let him. And then have the fat. You wanna be fat all the time. I don't care what the doctors say and all that, you wanna be fat. You wanna have the faith and the trust. F-A-T, have the faith and the trust. We have the faith in him, do we trust him? So you can sass. So you can surrender and serve. So have the fat so you can sass. It's simple to remember, but it's hard to do. It's hard to give of ourselves when we think we've given enough. That's why I ask you to open your heart till Christmas, just a little bit more, the size of a mustard seed. Yes, Don?
One thing that you didn't mention is we've got a couple of people that come in and cook.
Yes, we do.
And the food that's sent in is high quality stuff, filet mignon, chicken breast, ribs, pork chops, flank steaks, beautiful food. And I don't even know their names, well, I know Mary, but the other gentleman that's there, every Monday and Wednesday, I came in a couple of times to help out. It's a matter of the people that get this food, they deserve dignity, even though they are down and out and have problems. They are human just like us, and I am happy to see the kind of food that they get. They don't just get sausages or this or that, they get really good stuff, so kudos to, and all of the people that work.
They do. We're a blessed ministry, and some folks can't. They can only have funds, or they go buy their food for themselves, so peanut butter jelly or bologna sandwiches or whatever. God bless them, because they're doing all they can do. We're blessed. We get this food from Saz's. We get this meat, like Don was saying, from the grocery store. We get Johnsonville sausage. We're working on a couple deals. It's time to go to church. So we're blessed. But like I mentioned before, we try and put a meal out that we would give our families and be proud of it. We do. We honestly do. And then when Whitley goes to build the outreach, that's the relationship part. We want to have the relationship. I don't know all you people. I know your face when I go along, but I don't know their name. But we talk to them. We give them hope. Do you want to pray? Here's the meal. We're going to be there when we say we're going to be there. It gives them hope that, hey, I'm going to get some good food today. Okay, any other question? Yes.
There's a proposal to build a senior housing development at your current location.
Yes, there is.
Sounds like you've outgrown it already anyways.
We have outgrown it. I stand in front of you not knowing what Tulsa's gonna do, but betting that they're gonna pass that. So the building will be where we are now, but we would have to move it, our lease is up the end of August anyway. We've already started looking, we have a couple Christian real estate folks looking for us because, again, I don't like asking for money, but the rent is probably gonna triple and the utilities will be much larger than what we're paying now. And due to our expansion, which I mentioned in 2019, where we're gonna do all those big things, we need another freezer, a huge freezer. We have a 15 by 25 walk-in. Come visit us. We have a huge walk-in freezer now. We need one that's gonna be 3 times bigger, almost. We have a 10 by 20 foot cooler. We're gonna get a 20 by 40 foot cooler, so that's 4 times bigger than what we have now projecting out, because the people we talked to before said this will last you at least 5 years. It's been 2 years, and we've pretty much outgrown, because this is God, and if anybody has a pipeline to them, please include us in that pipeline, because we don't know how big we're gonna get. All we know is that more and more donors are coming to us, which is good. That means we're doing what God would want us to do.
Now, you mentioned that this is a ministry of St. Matthew's. Are other churches, I mean, you said we pack on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Does somebody else do it on Tuesdays and
We get
Thursdays?
food on Monday and Wednesday and Friday. We put meals together 6 days a week. We do our family meal program, the 2s and the 4s. Larry and his group of people do that on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Those are the only days.
Somebody else does it other days?
No, we don't, that's the only days that we do the family meals. But we put food together 5 days a week for our partners. Some of them don't get the family meals. And I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear. Some of them just get the on-site meals, as I call them, or some of them are just pantry partners. We have a lot of mom and pop food pantries in the city where they're open 2 days a week, 2 hours a day, so 4 hours a week. And they just take pantry stuff so it won't turn bad. They don't take produce or milk, they just take pantry items. We have some partners that we call abundance partners, because last week we're partnered with Kroger's and Pick and Save, and we go directly to their distribution center in Oconomowoc. And I think it was 2 weeks ago, we got 13,000 pounds, pardon me, worth of produce in 2 days. That's a huge amount, that we were overflowing. So then we put a notice out to all our partners, hey, we've got lettuce, we've got carrots, we've got whatever we get in, and then hopefully they will come in and take it. So we have abundance partners too. Come and visit us. Take, and I promise I won't talk. You can get someone else to give you the tour, so it won't be so long. But come and visit us. God has got a great ministry going on, and it started here. You folks are amazing, the volunteers that come and put up with me. Any other questions? Okay, God's peace, grace, and love to you all today and all tomorrows. And just do yourself a favor. Open that heart a little bit. Feel Christmas. See what God puts in there. Thank you. There's some brochures on the back table. Those are our brand new ones. Please take those.
Ray said he misses you.